Welcome to our deep dive on the Overseas Citizen of India, or OCI, specifically for foreign spouses of Indian nationals. First, we will set expectations. This process is complex and designed to be exacting. Next, we will show you how to anticipate roadblocks, collect the right documents, and avoid jurisdiction pitfalls. Finally, we will end with pro tips and a quick quiz to check your understanding. Here is our plan for the video. First, we will clarify what OCI is and the spouse eligibility rule. Then, we will resolve the ambiguous checklist problem by detailing who needs what. After that, we will tackle jurisdiction rules and what to do if your local VFS center is closed. Next, we will compare self-managed applications with consultants. We will also provide visual diagrams of the process and timeline. Finally, we will finish with pro tips, quizzes, and a concise summary. Before we begin, please note this is not legal advice. Rules and checklists change frequently and sometimes without clear notice. Therefore, always verify your documents and steps against the latest official OCI portal, the Ministry of Home Affairs notices, and your jurisdiction's VFS or consulate website. If your case is unusual, consult the consulate or a qualified professional. Let us define OCI in practical terms. OCI grants a lifelong multiple entry facility to India for eligible foreign nationals with connections to India. For foreign spouses of Indian citizens, eligibility typically begins after 2 full years of legally valid marriage. However, OCI is not citizenship and does not grant political rights or government employment. Because the filing is treated as a legal submission, your success hinges on accuracy and complete documentation rather than speed. Now let us clarify who should apply under the spouse category. You must be a foreign national legally married to an Indian citizen. The marriage must have completed 2 years at the time of application submission. Your ID and address must clearly fall within the designated jurisdiction for the VFS center or consulate handling your case. Finally, be ready to provide documentation for both you and your Indian spouse, and sometimes for the spouse's parents, to establish Indian origin with certainty. This flowchart shows the overall life cycle: verifying the 2-year marriage rule, gathering documents, checking jurisdiction, submitting the online form and uploads, booking your appointment, submitting originals, and entering the Ministry of Home Affairs review. If a deficiency arises, the process loops back to document correction before final approval and printing. This visual helps you anticipate checkpoints and avoid surprises. Here is the crux of many failures. The spouse category is not an either-or test. Both the foreign applicant and the Indian spouse must provide comprehensive documents. For the applicant, that includes a current valid passport, a proof of residence matching the application jurisdiction, compliant photos, and a properly attested marriage certificate. For the Indian spouse, a current Indian passport or decisive proof of Indian citizenship or origin is required. Sometimes, authorities request documents of the Indian spouse's parents, such as birth or domicile certificates, to confirm Indian origin. Do not treat those as optional if requested. Finally, ensure absolute consistency of names, dates, signatures, and notary details across every document and online entry. This table summarizes the core checklist. Note that both partners have mandatory items. The applicant must provide a current passport, jurisdiction-matching proof of residence, and compliant photos. The marriage certificate often needs apostille or attestation depending on your country. The Indian spouse should provide a current Indian passport or sufficiently strong proof of Indian citizenship or origin. Parents. Documents are conditional but commonly requested. Treat such requests seriously. Include name change records and prior marital status documents when applicable. And be ready with historical address proof if asked. Let us compare approaches. A self-managed application gives you control over every detail, which often leads to fewer transcription errors and quicker corrections. It is also more economical and builds a thorough understanding of your case. On the other hand, a good consultant can help structure complex histories and anticipate common pitfalls, potentially saving time. However, no consultant can guarantee approval, and outsourcing may introduce errors if you do not double-check every line. Regardless of the path you choose, precision remains your responsibility. Jurisdiction rules are strict. you are required to apply within the jurisdiction that covers your official address. If your local VFS center is closed or not accepting appointments, do not simply book elsewhere. Without explicit written permission from the supervisory consulate or high commission, your application may be rejected or returned unused. Therefore, write to the consulate, document the closure or impossibility, and request written authorization to use an alternate center. Retain that approval and include it with your file. This timeline breaks the journey into phases: preparation, submission, processing, and outcome. Preparation can take several weeks as you gather and notarize documents. After form submission, appointment availability may vary widely by center. Processing by the Ministry of Home Affairs can run from several weeks to a few months, including any police verifications. Finally, the decision, printing, and dispatch stages follow. Build buffer time into your plans to avoid travel disruptions. Here is a practical way to secure permission. First, identify the correct consulate or high commission contact for your jurisdiction. Next, clearly explain that your local VFS is closed or has no appointments, and request authorization to use a named alternate center. Attach supporting screenshots and your address proof. Ask for a reply that lists your name, passport number, and the permitted center. Finally, retain and print the entire email chain to include with your application. Quiz time. The question is, for a spouse category OCI, whose documents are required? Option A, only the foreign applicant's documents. Option B, only the Indian spouse's documents. Option C, both the foreign applicants and the Indian spouse's documents, and sometimes the spouse's parents' documents if requested. Option D, either the applicant's or the spouse's documents, but not both. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is the option stating that both the foreign applicants and the Indian spouse's documents are required, and that sometimes the spouse's parents' documents are also requested. This ensures the authorities can verify identity, marital connection, and Indian origin conclusively. To reduce risk of rejection, focus on precision. Ensure that every personal detail precisely matches across documents and the online application. Follow the photo and file upload guidelines exactly, including dimensions and file size. Scan documents in color, keep them legible and correctly oriented, and include entire edges. Organize your files with a clear folder structure and a simple checklist or spreadsheet. If a detail might be misread, include a brief cover note referencing the relevant document. Lastly, verify the appointment center is correct for your jurisdiction or that you have written permission to attend elsewhere. Here is the second quiz question. Your local VFS center is closed for months. What is the safest next step? Option A, book at any other center immediately. Option B, mail your application to a different state without notice. Option C, email the supervisory consulate or high commission, explain the impossibility, and obtain written permission to apply at another center. Option D, wait indefinitely without contacting anyone. You may pause the video now to consider your answer. We will reveal the correct choice next. The correct answer is to email the supervisory consulate or high commission, document the impossibility, and secure written permission for an alternate center. Jurisdiction rules are strict, and submitting elsewhere without approval is risky. Here are practical takeaways. Always rely on the most recent checklists, as they can change without prominent notice. Maintain perfect consistency of names and dates across all records. Treat requests for parents' documents as critical. Print and attach all approvals and permission emails. Build delays into your travel plans. And avoid non-refundable bookings until you have the OCI in hand. Finally, a careful self-managed application often avoids errors introduced by third parties. To summarize, the Spouse Category OCI application requires comprehensive documentation from both partners and sometimes from the Indian spouse's parents. Jurisdiction rules rarely bend, so obtain written permission if your local center is unavailable. Accuracy and organization, combined with proactive communication, will help you navigate the process. Finally, expect updates, delays, and additional requests, and plan time buffers accordingly. Thank you for watching. If this guide clarified the OCI spouse process, please like the video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe for more practical walkthroughs. In the comments, tell us where you are applying from and which part of the process worries you most. We look forward to helping you succeed.